Again, we're gonna be recording because we have lots and lots and lots of people out for various reasons, out on the road and traveling and in some little vacation spots. So we'll have a fair number of people watching today. I have kind of a roadmap in my brain and on paper for what I want to practice with you guys today and kind of point out that I think will be helpful. This is all going to be about reflexives in particular. We're going to take one verb in particular, which is ir and irse, and talk about that. I sent you a couple videos on that. And this is a verb that is reflexive or not. And some people get confused with how do I use it as a reflexive or not? And ir and irse are super, super, super common verbs. So we're going to spend a little bit of time with that. And some of our time is going to be hearing some examples of how typically that is used. Then we're also going to talk, we're going to do a walkthrough on our Carlitos on the playground video. We're going to play our Carlitos on the playground video and just kind of notice how did they use those reflexives, because you're always going to hear them in context mixed in with other verbs that aren't reflexive. And sometimes, there's no way you're going to memorize every single reflexive verb, but just to kind of know when you hear it coming at you, it just tweaked that meaning slightly, just kind of being prepared for that. So I'll do a little walkthrough in which I will play it and do an in-time translation as we go along, because it's a little more complicated with that. And then the last thing I want to do, again, it's going to be around reflexives, is all those little reflexive pronouns, the me, te, nos, and se. Why do they shift to different places in the sentence? Like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought you said it was always in front of the verb. Well, yeah, it's often in front of the verb, but sometimes it's attached to other things. And knowing when it is and when it isn't can sometimes be helpful. I'm hoping we can fit in a little bit of small group practice as well today, but hopefully we'll tackle all these things. So it's all going to be about reflexives today. And okay. Bien. Vamos a ver. I had sent to you through the homework, and this is just to remind you, I had sent to you this video, right? Which was like an all in English explanation of why ir and irse were different. And, go and leave, isn't that the same thing? Kind of, but it's nice to know what the nuances are. And also this, which was a harder video to watch, which I had said watch it a couple of times because she does a lot more explanation in Spanish. But those two, and what we're going to progress to is this video, and we won't watch all of this, but parts of it, that the parts where he talks about why these two are different. Ir and irse are important to know because ir, to go, is so used every day, all the time. And consequently, irse used a lot. It's good to know what those little differences are. So the main difference, and these are not going to be like 100%, because as surely as I tell you, this is the rule, somebody's going to go break it. And somebody who's a native speaker is going to go break that rule, because, yeah. But in general, por lo general, usamos el lugar. For ir, just by itself, ir without the se, generally, it's going to be that combination of ir with the word a behind it, right? And we generally, in most cases, when we use ir by itself, we mention the place where you're going to wind up. Yeah. the place where you'll end up after you do that action of ir. All right. So we generally, with ir by itself, generally tend to use a place, a location, whatever it is, the place that you're going to go to. We usually mention it with ir. Okay. And or if you use ir plus an activity. Voy a lavar el carro. Voy a dar una clase. I'm going to give a class. Voy a hablar con mis hijos. I'm going to talk with my kids. The other reason for using ir is when we use it in the sense of talking about future actions. So we use ir by itself, either with a place, an actual place where we're going to wind up, or with the activity we're going to do, going to walk, going to wash, going to do something. Okay, bien. Irse, on the other hand, irse means just leave. And the word that you'll hear a lot is abandonar. Abandonar means what it sounds like, to abandon. And irse is used when you just say you're leaving a place, you're getting out. So in other words, in English, what we'll generally use to convey this idea of irse is when you mean, I'm leaving, I'm taking off. I'm taking off early today. That's irse. I'm going away. Going away. That's irse. Go away. Take off. Not talking about rockets, but people. Leaving a place. And usually, not 100%, but usually with irse, it just is by itself. We don't often mention the place. If we mention the place, we might mention the place we're actually getting out of, but not the place we're going to. As a general rule, people may they may chuck that rule to the side every once in a while. But whereas ir a is a thing, irse de might be a thing. You might say, I'm leaving the office, but that's not mentioning the place you're going to. That's mentioning the place you're getting out of. Okay. So you might mention the place you're getting out of, but you are likely to use irse just by itself with no place at all. It's likely. Okay. ¿Entienden? Understand? ¿Hay alguna pregunta? Any question about that before we hear some examples of it or not? No? Irse is not a thing that you should feel like, oh, it makes me feel nervous, or am I using it wrong? You know, people will understand you, but it's helpful to know the kinds of situations in which you might hear it, and how irse has something missing. It'll often be missing that place you're going to, because irse is not talking about where you're going to wind up. It's talking just about leaving, getting out. Okay. So we're going to hear some examples in context, because that is what really, really helps. Ooh, I got to turn on my sound for this. A ver. Let's see. Okay, bien. And we're not going to watch all this video because we don't need to watch all of it, but he's got some good examples.
Chicos, venga, vamos a empezar. Vamos a ver cuál es la diferencia entre ir e irse. Venga. Me encanta venir al parque.
I love coming to the park.
Cuando hace sol.
When it's sunny.
Cuando hace buen tiempo.
When it's good weather.
Se está muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. Pero no me puedo quedar. Tengo que irme.
Tengo que irme. I gotta leave. Tengo que irme. People just say, I gotta go. I have to leave. I have to get out of this place. That's tengo que irme.
Tengo que irme a trabajar.
I have to leave to go to work. Okay, so that tagging on an infinitive to tell what you're going to go do or what you're going to leave to go do instead, that's a maybe.
Es una pena, pero
wow, what a pain. I gotta leave.
Se está muy bien aquí, pero no me puedo quedar, Me tengo que ir, tengo que irme a trabajar, sí. Tengo que irme a trabajar porque ya...
And notice something, this is something we'll talk about later. Woo, wait a minute. Me tengo que ir is good, but it's equally okay to take that me and tag it on the end of ir. Tengo que irme a trabajar. I got to leave to work. I've got to leave to go to work.
Ya es tarde, ¿eh? Qué pena, me gustaría quedarme, ¿eh? Pero no. Tengo que irme a trabajar, tengo que irme a trabajar. Bueno, pues nada, me voy, uy, perdón. Me voy del parque.
So here is where you may hear a place, an actual geographic place. Me voy del parque. But notice it won't be a, where I'm going to wind up. It's going to be de, where you're leaving from, because de means from or of. Me voy del parque. You may hear people tag on a place if it's irse and you're talking about the place you're getting out of. Not the place where you'll wind up, but the place you're getting out of or leaving. Me voy del parque. I'm leaving the park.
Me voy del parque. Me voy, sí, por aquí me voy a ir del parque. Me voy del parque, qué pena. Me voy.
Qué pena, what a pain.
Me voy a trabajar, sí, por aquí.
I'm leaving to work.
Bueno, estoy caminando muy deprisa.
Muy deprisa means in a hurry. And he says, I'm walking here in a hurry, really fast.
Porque voy a la universidad.
Now we mention where he needs to wind up. Voy a la universidad, voy a trabajar, what he's going to do, the place where he's going to wind up. It's just ir. Voy a la universidad, voy a trabajar.
Voy a trabajar, pero llego tarde.
I'm getting there late. I'm going late.
Me he despistado un poco y voy tarde, pero sí. Es por aquí. Y siempre voy a pie.
I always go on foot, just talking about how he's getting there. You know, he's not taking a taxi or a bus. When I go late, I'm always on foot.
Incluso cuando voy tarde, siempre voy a pie. A ver, voy a trabajar, voy a la universidad, voy a dar clase.
I'm going to work, what he will be doing future. I'm going to the university, an actual place. We need with the destination. And I'm going to give a class. I'm going to have a class. Yeah. I'm going to teach a class. Voy a dar clase.
Los estudiantes ya deben estar allí esperando. Oh, a ver. Sí, voy a la universidad. Mira la hora que es.
Mira la hora que es is a really common phrase. Mira la hora que es. Look at the hour it is. We would say, look at the time. Wow, look at the time. Mira la hora que es. Look at the time that it is.
Mira la hora que es. Llevo esperando a mis estudiantes desde hace más de media hora y no vienen.
I have been waiting for my students for over half an hour and they're not coming. They're not showing up.
No vienen.
No vienen. They're not coming.
Así que, bueno, pues me voy a ir.
Me voy a ir. So, well, okay. Hey, nobody showed up for class. I'm going to leave. En inglés, es muy común. We very frequently say, I'm taking off. I'm leaving. Probably in this case, we wouldn't say I'm going away so much, but I'm leaving. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. Me voy a ir.
¿Qué hago aquí?
Isn't that kind of redundant?
Perdón.
Isn't that kind of redundant? Me voy a ir.
Well, oh, redundant. Because I'm using ir twice.
Well, yeah, but you know, if me voy means I'm leaving, and now it says I'm going to leave. I'm leaving to leave.
Yeah. Well, we are also redundant in English. I'm going to go. Me voy a ir. Yeah. Me voy a ir, and the voy a, okay, yeah. Well, and this is actually a common thing. It's quite common to use this expression, me voy a ir. Or we can take that me voy a ir and swing the me and tag it onto the back of the ir part. We can also say voy a irme. Voy a irme is equally okay. We'll talk a little bit later about why that is okay. Me voy a ir, voy a irme. The voy a is I'm going to tell you what will happen. It's a future. And the irme is the leave part. Voy a, I'm going to, irme, leave. The irme is the leave part. It is redundant because you're using ir twice, but we have to use ir by itself, not irse, just ir, to say it's a future. I'm not doing it at this minute, but I will be. That's the voy a part. And the irme is the leave part. ¿Sí? ¿Entiendes? Okay. We're going to let a little more example
tiempo, ¿no?
through here.
Me voy a ir a mi casa. Me voy a ir a mi casa ahora mismo.
And this kind of violates that rule. He did say where he's going to. Generally, people don't do that, but okay. He just did. People do.
Porque aquí, ¿para qué? ¿Para qué voy a estar aquí? ¿Para perder el tiempo? Me voy. A ver.
I'm getting out. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
¿Qué tal?
Me voy.
¿Habéis entendido la diferencia? Vamos a ver. Usamos el verbo ir cuando nos desplazamos
Desplazar.
hacia
Move
hacia un
ourselves.
objetivo. ¿Vale? Estamos en A y nos desplazamos hacia B.
So generally, with ir by itself, you have somebody starting out at place A and winding up in place B. And we usually mention where we're going to wind up in that part B, or the action, if it's not a place, the action we're going to be doing. Okay. So we've got a starting point A, we've got an ending point B. And generally with ir by itself, non-reflexive, we're talking about either an activity that will be happening or an actual physical location where we'll wind up. That's the point with ir.
¿De acuerdo? Este movimiento es
This movement is ir.
ir. ¿De acuerdo? El objetivo puede ser un lugar físico o puede ser una acción. Voy a trabajar, voy a comer, voy a jugar con mis amigos.
So the back can be an activity. Okay. It might not be a physical location. It might be an activity, an action.
Y el verbo irse expresa que abandonamos, que dejamos un lugar. Estamos en A.
Irse indicates we're leaving a place.
Abandonamos ese lugar para ir hacia otro lugar. Lo importante es que si usamos irse, lo que estamos diciendo es que dejamos este lugar para ir a otro lugar. Entonces,
so the focus with irse is not on where you wind up. The focus with irse is that I'm getting out of a place. That salud, that I'm leaving a place. I'm actually getting out of Dodge, if you will. Okay. So the focus is a little bit different. Otros ejemplos. Let me give you some other examples of when people might use irse versus ir. Okay. Vamos a ver. Let's take a quick look. En contexto. En contexto, sí. El contexto, sí. Estamos en una reunión. So the context is we're at a meeting. We're at a meeting. And you say maybe to the person next to you something like this. No veo a nadie. I don't see anybody. No veo a nadie de la oficina. De la oficina aquí. I don't see anybody from the office here. See? Me voy. I'm getting out. Hey, nobody knows I'm here. I don't see anybody from the office. I'm leaving. Me voy. I could emphasize the place I'm getting out of, but I probably am not talking about the place I'm going to, just that I'm leaving. So, me voy del salón. I'm leaving the conference room. Me voy del salón. Me voy del salón, I might say, or just me voy. Okay, bien. Algo así. Oh, otro contexto. Otro contexto. El contexto es que estoy en el parque. Estoy en el parque con mis nietos. I'm at the park with my grandkids. And somebody looks around and says, wow, empieza a llover. Wow, empieza a llover. It's starting to rain. Okay. Nos vamos. We're getting out. We're getting out. We're leaving. We're getting out of here. Okay. Por ejemplo.
Una pregunta, Marlon?
Sí, dime.
Suppose you want to say, we're getting out of here, we're going to go home. Would you say nos vamos and then vamos a la casa?
Quizás, maybe. And what you said there is just key. Nos vamos is by itself, and you might add later, vamos a casa. And now, vamos a casa has just the vamos part without the nos. Vamos a casa, we're going home.
So you wouldn't typically say nos vamos a casa?
Típicamente, no. No. Típicamente, no. You might hear somebody say, nos vamos del parque. Maybe they might mention the place you are
leaving from.
Right. But usually not nos vamos a casa. They might say that, but it's not as likely. Okay. Not as likely. Okay. Yes. Just vamos a casa when we mention the place, but without the nos in general. Okay. En general. Oh, por ejemplo, el contexto. Tengo migas. I've got breadcrumbs. Les doy a comer a las palomas. I am giving these breadcrumbs to the doves. Right? But at some point the doves, they fly away, right? Like all of a sudden something disturbs the duck, they're picking at the little breadcrumbs. And then all of a sudden the big flock flies off. You'll hear somebody say, sí, los pájaros, the birds, los pájaros, or las palomas, se van. Oh, they're taking off. They're taking off. Se van. They're just going away. We don't know where they're going to. The trees, the lake. No sabemos. We don't know. But se van. They're leaving. They're getting out of here. These are the contextual uses. But se van is kind of naked in a way. It's naked. It doesn't really have a lot of information after it. It might mention this place that we're getting out of, maybe, but very, very typically, very often, it's kind of naked. It's just by itself. It doesn't carry a lot of information after it. It is just me voy, se van, se va, te vas, nos vamos. It's just that. Okay, bien? Make more sense? See, think of irse as it's kind of naked. It's just by itself. It doesn't, it typically won't talk about a location all that much. Okay. Very, very infrequently. Okay. A ver. ¿Entienden? ¿Make sense? Sí o no? Sí o no? Sí? Bien?
Sí, sí.
Okay.
Bien.
Okay. Vale.
Gracias.
De nada. Okay. Let's take a look at, I want to give you a little bit of practice time, and I'm going to show you a little bit of, you're going to have some picture prompts so you can have some fun. And, I'm going to put one little disclaimer in here to help you out. Okay. Bien. You're going to see this when you go into your little Zoom rooms. Oh, you're going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verbos. Ustedes van a usar 5 verbos. Van a usar. Van a usar, you're going to use 5 verbs, and you're going to conjugate it either for the subject that I give you, él for this picture of the little boy, yo for this picture here, nosotros for this picture here. We're going to talk about one person because we only got one casket. Yay. Yeah, one person here and 2 people because we got 2 people who are doing something here. And we're going to tell you what these mean. Lastimarse talks about hurting yourself, injuring yourself physically, injuring yourself. You can see he has just got a boo-boo on the knee, right? So he's getting hurt. He's hurt himself, right? Olvidarse means to forget. To forget. You can make that negative or positive, either way, but you're going to say, I forget, or maybe you're going to say, I don't forget, because we got to post it there. Equivocarse, regular verb. I know it's a long thing. Take off the se, it's equivocar. Equivocarse es to be mistaken. In other words, to make a mistake. That's equivocarse. And we're going to say we've made a mistake, and you can see he's got a 2 + 2 = 5. Okay, poor kid. But we're going to conjugate this for nosotros. We are mistaken. We are wrong. We are wrong. We messed up. Yeah. Okay. That. Somebody dying. Yeah. How can morirse be reflexive? Well, often it just is. That doesn't make sense. It does not mean somebody offed himself. No. Morir can be used non-reflexively or reflexively. It means the same thing. I cannot tell you why, but morirse is more used reflexively for reasons that are lost in time. It is, okay? And remember, that is a stem changer. It's got that kind of stem change, okay? And quejarse means to complain, to complain. It is reflexive. It does not mean they're complaining to themselves. Obviously, they're not complaining to themselves. They're complaining to somebody behind a counter, right? But yeah, quejarse is a very, very common and frequently used reflexive verb. So you're going to see those little prompts when you go in. This will be a short one. We'll see if you can deal with that. I'm probably only going to give you 5 minutes to talk about those verbs because you don't have to make up great big long sentences. Okay? But you've got the actual you've got the actual meanings behind. Vamos a ver. Okay. And there we go. Okay. Once you get in there, I will send in the pictures and the verbs themselves so you can see them. And Mary, just don't join so that you know, para que sepas. Or if you want to work just with me, you can, but don't feel you have to since your voice is ailing. If I had a sore throat, I wouldn't want to be practicing either. A ver. Cinco minutos. 5 minutos nada más. Y voy a mirar el reloj. I'm going to watch my watch. Watch my watch. Voy a mirar el reloj. I'm going to watch the countdown. Make sure we let people practice those reflexives, and then come back. It's very nice. Now Zoom gives me a little microphone setting and I can see when people are talking in the rooms. So that if I see that people are like microphones are not going at all, it means, ooh, they must have finished early. Maybe I need to bring everybody back. Good to know. Bueno, aquí vienen.
I left too soon, but oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how that went for you. Bien. Okay. Aquí vienen más. Here comes more folks. Here come more folks. A ver. Esperamos a quizás 5 o 6 más. We're okay. We got everybody coming back in. Aquí vienen todos. Here comes everybody. Okay. Excelente. Let's just do a quick check to see if there were any items you had a question on. Él, he se lastima, ¿no?
Yeah.
Se lastima. He hurts himself. Okay. Se lastima. It doesn't mean on purpose.
Oh, se lastima.
Se
Okay.
lastima. Yeah. Se lastima. Se
So,
lastima.
I have a question here. So you just asked us to change into that, or you want us if because we were confused about it, like, do we need to just to do that, or do we need to make kind of like a short
Just
sentence out of it so that it makes sense for us, because we are clearly having a problem on that.
So, okay. Uy, perdón. Okay. Yeah. All I want you to do the conjugation so you know how to use that reflexive verb. But, if you want to add a little bit to it, you could. Okay. So it could be as simple as él se lastima. Boom. He hurts himself. It could be that simple. It could be él se lastima la rodilla, the knee. Okay. But nothing more complicated than that. Okay. It could be, yo me olvido. Our focus is just on that verb. Me olvido. Or it could be me olvido de la cita. I forget an appointment. Okay. But nothing more complicated than that. It could be just nos equivocamos. We made it, we made a mistake. Nos equivocamos en la clase de matemáticas, in math class. As simple as that.
Yes.
Yeah. Not making it right. Se muere. Okay, just dead. Okay, not a whole lot more to say about that. Se quejan. They se quejan. We want an ellos form. Se quejan en se quejan a la mujer. They complain to the woman. See, se quejan del servicio. They complain about the service. Nothing more complex than that. Is that? I hope that helps. Es mejor? Better? See? Okay. Vale. We're going to give you a shorter one to work on then. A shorter one. Vamos a ver. I'll show you which pictures we're working on next. This one will probably only be about 3 minutes out because this one is not as long. Oh, no. I did have it up. See. Así es. There it is. Yes. See. We're just going to say she puts on a jacket. We're going to say the kids are leaving. You might want to add the place they're getting out of. Maybe. You don't have to. We're just focusing on how do we conjugate that reflexive. Okay. That's the most important part. So the most important part is conjugating ponerse for la mujer, the woman. The most important thing is conjugating irse to talk about the kids. Bien. The most important thing is going to use for talking about one person getting up or sitting down, getting up or sitting down. Okay. And the only one here that is really, really irregular is this sentarse verb. So I'm going to put a little Q in for you. Remember that E changes to IE for sentarse, right? Just for sentarse. So this little vowel here is going to morph or split into that IE for that one verb. All the other ones are regular. Okay. Is it clearer what you need to
Sí.
do? See?
Mm.
Okay. And you're probably only going to need 3 minutes for this one because this one is short. See? Es corto.
Okay.
It's just a shorty one. And you'll get the pictures when you get into your room. Okay. Vamos a ver. Muy bien. Muy bien. And we'll review a little bit things you might have said and what you can do to add more information to it, or, if you want to, or not, right? Our focus is mostly on just how to use these verbs that are what we call reflexives, because they happen all the time. Okay. Por ejemplo, ¿cómo se dice? How do we conjugate this for just talking about one person? Ponerse la chaqueta.
Se pone.
Se pone. Se pone la
pone.
chaqueta. We
Yeah.
can embellish. Oh, sí, perdón.
Una pregunta, por
Sí,
favor.
sí, Cindy.
Can you add ella on the front of it to
Sí,
say it's a girl? Or it's
ella se pone la chaqueta, la mujer se pone la chaqueta, la joven, the young lady, la joven se pone la chaqueta, la señorita se pone la chaqueta. Bien. We can add more details if you want to, but you don't have to. Ella se pone la chaqueta negra. Se pone la chaqueta negra. Ella se pone la chaqueta de cuero, the leather jacket. Quizás, okay? Depende, okay? Irse. How do we say those kids are getting out?
Se van.
Se van.
Se van.
Se van. Los niños se van, los chicos se van, los estudiantes.
Los estudiantes se van.
Perfecto.
Se van de la clase.
Muy bien. You can add a detail. Se van de la clase. Se van de la escuela, se van del colegio, se van de la última clase del día. They're leaving the last class of the day. Bien, sí. Okay, perfecto. But we're generally not going to talk about where those kids wind up when they're finished running out, right? We might talk about the place they're, think of abandoning, the place they're getting out of, Okay, bien. Okay. Por ejemplo, levantarse, sentarse, levantarse, sentarse.
Se levanta, se sienta.
Se levanta, se sienta. Se levanta, se levanta de la silla, se sienta en la silla. Sí, yeah, there's not that much to talk about with that picture. Perfecto, perfecto. What we want to get you used to is just talking about get familiar with verbs. Sí, Jan.
Una pregunta.
Sí,
Okay,
sí.
so I just want to make sure I have this right. So you would say el niño se levanta,
Sí.
but could you also say el niño levántase?
Qué buena pregunta. What a good question. You would say levántese, not levanta, but levante, levántese. If you're giving him a command, we're going to talk about that when we're done with these little practices.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that shortly. Buena pregunta. Muy buena pregunta. That is a really good question. There are lots of verbs that are reflexive. Sometimes we use them as a command. And sometimes we just use them to talk about what is actually going on. Okay. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. A ver. I'm going to give you, now that you've had a little bit of time under your belt, I'm going to send you out to talk about these. Hay 5 actividades. There are 5 activities. We're going to use these. These are all going to be regular verbs. None of these have stem changes. None of these have, funny verb endings. They're all going to be regular. Perdón. I need to make my thing wider here a little bit. Okay. Okay. We're going to use graduarse to graduate. It happens to be reflexive. We just want you to get used to a wide variety of verbs that happen to be reflexive. Graduarse, to graduate. Yeah. Callarse. Wow. This one is really, really common. Callarse means to be quiet, literally to quiet oneself. Yeah. So when this is given as a command, it means shut up. But it means to quiet yourself, to keep yourself quiet. Yes. To keep yourself quiet. Okay. Preguntarse is the verb they use for wonder, because what happens when you say, I wonder? you're asking yourself a question. And preguntarse is to ask yourself a question. That means to wonder. And we're going to conjugate this for yo. So graduarse, we're conjugating for one person, una persona, la abogada, the lawyer. Callarse, we're talking about two kids, los chicos, right? Preguntarse, we're conjugating for yo, okay? Yeah. Enamorarse, to enamor oneself. To fall. Oh, enamorarse is to fall in love. Oh, enamorarse is to fall in love. We're going to say that these young people are falling in love. And ponerse with rojo, or in this case, it has to be roja, porque es mujer, because it's a woman. To make one, to put oneself red. Ooh, no, it means to turn red, which means to blush. Oh, ponerse roja, or if it's a man, ponerse rojo means to blush, to blush. Ponerse rojo or ponerse roja. Here we're talking about una mujer, a woman, okay? All of these are going to be very, very regular, no stem changes, no oddball spelling things. They're going to be regulares. So we're all talking about what those people are doing. We'll send you back out to practice these so you get used to it a little bit, see? And you'll get the pictures in your room. En un momento.
Gracias.
Oh, sí. A ver. Ok, momentito. Share. There we go. Oh, hola, Pat. Do I need to put you back in?
Yes, that'd be great.
Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. Ooh, wow. ¿Qué pasa? Momentito.
I wonder if the storm had anything to do with this.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Do you remember who you were in a group with, or does it matter a whole lot?
I was in with a woman. She has short, dark hair and asks a lot of questions.
Ooh,
What was her? Oh,
okay. You know what? I'll just put you in group 1. We're good. We're
Okay.
good. Okay. I think you should see it.
Let's see.
Nos quedan 20 segundos más. Y vamos a ver. Ok. Okay. We'll have people joining us back soon. We'll see if everybody's kind of got the main point here. Okay, aquí vienen. We got more people coming back on in. Is it feeling a little bit better? A little more under your belt? See, yeah, así
a
es.
little bit.
Yeah, un poquito.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot of examples. You have to see a lot of examples. That's just the way it is. Okay. And you know, sadly, the stable full of reflexive verbs is a big stable. And you know, sometimes it just comes at you and you're like, oh, that's reflexive. And you know, you just go with the flow. Okay, yes, it's reflexive because somebody used that with me. Sometimes that's just the way it is. Okay. A ver, let's take a quick look. Hopefully you're feeling a little more comfortable with just doing the conjugation, just getting used to how that rolls along. So let's take a look at these and see if you got them conjugated right. La abogada, the lawyer.
Se gradúa.
Se gradúa. Yeah, se gradúa. Se gradúa. Yeah, it's got an U and an A because that graduarse. Yeah, it's got an U in there. Se gradúa, se gradúa. She's graduating. See? Los niños.
Se callan.
Se callan.
Se callan. Los niños se callan. Los niños no se callan. They are not being quiet, but sí se callan. Okay. Yo, I wonder.
Me pregunto.
Me
Me
pregunto.
pregunto. Me pregunto. Okay. Los jóvenes, the young people they're falling in love.
Se enamoran.
Se enamoran. Se
Okay.
enamoran. For
Gross.
homework, I'm gonna send you a well-known song with enamorarse in it.
Ah,
And it's
Oh.
gonna go roll by so fast. You're gonna be, oh, how can he say those sounds so fast? But it's a fun song. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you with lyrics printed out so you can
Thank
see
you.
it.
Se
And-
gracias. Se
and,
pone roja.
Se pone roja, se pone roja. Se pone
Yay.
roja. She blushes. Se pone roja. Bien. Okay. So that's just getting used to using, doing a regular conjugation. Bien. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any question about those? That general pattern? Sí o no?
No.
Okay. No? Okay.
Understand it a lot better after, practicing it.
There you go. Sí. Bien. And we'll
It's
continue
easy
to.
when it's just like that, but then when you try to make an like full, as I say to Jenny and Danita, and then when we try to make a full sentence, and then the headache starts.
Now you got the
Problem begins.
cascade of all the ideas, right? Yeah.
Correct.
I'll send you some ideas to prep ahead of time for next week. We're going to take a little bit of a look now at a question that came up, which was, what happens when that me or te or nos or se goes in a different place? And why did that happen? Because yes, that will happen. And we're going to take a look at that now. Okay, a ver. So, normally, and this comes under, this is a very long website. I might try to break it down into a shorter presentation so you don't have to scroll like forever. Placement of reflexive pronouns. So that means that sometimes this me, te, nos, or se might go in one place or someplace else that you're not prepared for. So in most tenses, and that means in right now, present, in the past, in the future, in most tenses, present, past, future, in most tenses, we place the reflexive pronoun right before the verb. And this is just what you have been doing in these little breakout sessions. Siempre me ducho por la mañana. I always take a shower in the morning. ¿Cuántas veces te lavas los dientes? How many times do you brush your teeth? Ella se acuesta temprano. She goes to bed early. Ellos se quedan en casa hoy. They're staying home today. And these are what you might call vanilla kind of verbs. They're just talking about what is actually going on. Present tense or past or future, we're just talking about events as they actually are happening, as they actually did in the past happen. We usually put the me, the te, the se, the nos in front of the verb, okay? But we're going to skip that. Oh, so para que sepan, so you know, if these were past, they still go in front of the verb. They still go in front of the verb, okay? So present or past, they still go in front of the verb. The imperfect, they still go in front of the verb. Some of you don't know these tenses. That's okay. Just know if we're talking about an actual event, it will go in front of the verb. And with here's an important thing, with a negative command. A command is an order. You're telling somebody do it, but sometimes commands are negative. And that means you're telling somebody don't do it, right? With a don't do it command, negative, and we call those negative commands. The me, well, it won't be a me in that situation, but the pronoun, right? The te or the nos or the se, it will still be in front of the verb. So don't complain is a command. It's not talking about actually what is going on. It's a command. No te quejes. Don't complain.
So every time it's doing the negative commands and then the verb change different way, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't say te quejas, but te quejas.
Yeah. Okay. That's a funky thing. Right. So that's kind of like a whole different lesson. But just so you know, yeah, because commands are a different animal. But
So is it all going to be like that? Like all the verb is going to change that way?
Some of the verbs change that way, and some of them not
No.
so bad. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's kind of a long thing.
Okay.
We'll talk about that soon. In a week or two, we'll talk about that. Yeah. So just know that with negative commands, we'll do the same thing. It'll come in front of the verb. It'll do the same thing. Okay. A negative command. But now, sometimes we attach these pronouns. There are 3 cases. Oh my gosh. Well, all right. So let's take a look at this. If you have an infinitive, that means a verb that is not conjugated at all. People have an option of they can attach the me, te, se, or nos. So the first one you see, no puedo concentrarme, I can't concentrate, I can't focus. I've got 2 verbs working together, puedo, concentrar. And concentrar is an infinitive. I can take it on to the end. No puedo concentrarme. But I could also flip that me in front of the puedo, the conjugated verb.
No
So it is
puedo.
correct to have 2 places.
Okay.
2 places for that. Either no puedo concentrarme or no me puedo concentrar. People can put the me in 2 places, and both are correct. And what's more common? Whatever. People will say whatever comes to their mind first. They can say it either way. They kind of don't care which way you say it. So it can be no me puedo concentrar or no puedo concentrarme. I will say, if maybe the focus they're putting on is like they're focusing on, hey, I can't do this, they might flip the me in front of the puedo. No me puedo concentrar. And the focus is a little about, hey, this is about me. All right. Okay. Relajarse aquí es imposible. Relaxing here is impossible. All I've got is the verb. It has to be tagged onto the end. Don't worry about that example so much. Quiero acostarme. Quiero acostarme. I want to go to bed. I can tag the me onto the end of the infinitive. Okay. But it is equally correct to express that by flipping the me in front of quiero. Me quiero acostar. Me quiero acostar is also correct. Okay. So when I've got a verb 1 conjugated and an infinitive not conjugated, I have 2 places the pronoun can go. It can go in front of the conjugated, which is like the normal place, or I can tag it onto the end of the infinitive. Both are correct. Mis padres van a quejarse. They're going to complain. Van a quejarse, I can tag on the se to the end of quejar. Or I can equally correctly say, mis padres se van a quejar, se van a quejar. Both are correct. So when I've got an infinitive, a not conjugated verb, I can tag it onto the end, but I've got an option. Okay.
So number 2, can we say se relaja aquí es imposible?
Well,
or no?
That won't happen because I don't really have 2 verbs together. Relajarse doesn't have, it doesn't say van a relajarse. It's using relajarse as actually a noun. It's using the infinitive as a thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Here's what also can happen. Gerundio. Number 2. For a gerund, that ing kind of verb. Okay. Similarly, just like I can tag I can tag the pronoun onto the end of the infinitive. I can also tag a pronoun onto an ing kind of verb. Ando, yendo. Yeah, I can do that. Mis padres están vistiéndose. My parents are getting dressed. I can tag vistiendo, the ing. I can tag on the se to the end. It is also okay to say, mis padres se están vistiendo. Se in front of the están is also okay. Mis padres se están vistiendo is fine. Equally correct, mis padres están vistiéndose. So in other words, you got a choice because you got a gerund. Okay. Estamos lavándonos las manos. We're washing our hands. Estamos lavándonos. I can tag the nos onto the end of the gerund, but it's also equally okay, grammatically allowed to say, nos estamos lavando las manos. I can say those, I can say that two ways and be correct. So I have a choice. With the gerund, ando, yendo, I can tag it onto the end. I can stick it in front of the first verb, the conjugated verb, and that's okay. With the gerund, or excuse me, with the infinitive, perdón, with the infinitive, the not conjugated at all verb, I can stick it onto the end. I can make it the caboose, the caboose on the end of the train, right? Or I can put it in front of the verb. I have a choice with an infinitive. I have a choice with the gerund, the ing verb. I don't have a choice here. Affirmative commands, the yes, go do it commands, I have to attach them. So these os, we're only going to have two examples here that really make sense because we don't use the os thing so much. Dúchate, take a shower already. Dúchate. With an affirmative command, we have to tag it on. Okay. Ponte la ropa, put your clothes on. Pon, wow, that comes from poner. It's an irregular command, but ponte means put it on. Right? Ponte la ropa, put your clothes on. Okay, we're not going to look at the os examples because we don't use os. Okay, so with commands, I don't have a choice. Affirmative commands, I must tag it onto the end. That's just the way it goes. That's kind of a lot of rules. I'm going to put those down into a slide set so that you know. Para que sepan, so you know. We're going to take, oh, sí, pregunta.
One question, when you have that levanta os, since we don't use that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What would you say? That, yeah, I saw it in another slide too about, and it had the os on it. So
yeah, you're only going to hear that if you're in Spain. They use os as a you guys command.
And what would we use?
We in Latin America would use se with a third person plural. So we would say, so to say, if you looked at everybody in the room and you say, hey, everybody, get up. We're going to stretch for 5 minutes. Yeah. And you said it would be levántense, levántense, levántense.
Okay.
Get on up, folks, levántense. And depending on how we shimmy around with this, I might show you some things with commands next week or the week after. It'll be that week or the weekend. Okay, bien?
Bien.
Levántense. Okay, we're going to do a little walkthrough now, a little walkthrough of our Carlitos, our Carlitos video, so that you kind of see how all these ideas rolled together in a real context idea. What I'm going to share with you first are some verbs you may not expect to hear, just so we kind of review the kinds of words we're going to use, because he uses some words. Se muere. I think he said this only at the beginning, and it doesn't mean to kill yourself, but he talks about at the beginning, oh, Carlitos he almost saw a sad ending to his life. Se muere. Usually it's used more with something like this. Me muero de hambre. I'm dying of hunger. I'm dying of thirst. You know, the thing that's not literal, it's,
Yeah.
or it is literal. Well, no, it's figurative. It's, you know, yeah, just an expression we use. But they're going to talk about a jump rope, elástico. He's going to use the verb chutar, which means to shoot like a ball, like you're kicking a ball for a goal, because you're going to be some. Oh, here's a verb that comes from a noun. The noun is la red. La red means a net, like for tennis or volleyball or a game of some kind. But enredarse means to get tangled up. And that means you are all wrapped up in the red, in the net. So enredarse is to get tangled up. They're going to talk about a reja, a grate, or in this case, it's going to be a fencing. Oh, they're going to use the reflexive verbs you have not yet seen. Darse cuenta de, to realize. Literally, to give yourself an accounting of, but nobody's going to say it that way in English because it wouldn't make any sense. Darse cuenta de means to realize. You're going to hear marearse, to get dizzy. And then they're going to talk about a mattress, a colchón. He's going to show you a picture of that. And rama is a branch, like in a tree or a bush or any kind of a plant that has a branch. Okay. And we're going to do a little walkthrough. I'm going to do like a running commentary on what he's saying in this story. Okay. And I think we're going to try to go for, ooh, I might need to take that out. Oh, okay. I do have my closed caption on. Okay. A ver.
Hoy os voy
And
a
he's using os, he's in Spain. Os voy a contar. I'm going to tell you guys. The os is you guys. Os voy a contar. I'm going to tell you guys. And notice he didn't tag it on to the end of contar. He happened to flip it in front of that. Here it's not a reflexive, but that happens with all pronouns. I'm going to tell you a story.
contar lo que le pasó
What
a
happened to Carlitos
un día
one day
en su escuela
in his school.
que por poco
Por
se
poco.
muere.
He almost died. He almost died. Por poco se muere. He's
Hola.
almost kicking
Pues
off.
sí, Carlitos estaba en la escuela.
Carlitos was in
estaba
school.
estudiando.
He was studying.
Y sonó el timbre.
And the bell rang.
Terring. No.
The
el
bell
timbre.
rang.
Terring. Eran las 10:30.
It was 10:30.
10:30. Era la hora del recreo.
It was recess
del
time.
descanso. Durante
Rest
media hora.
time. Recess time.
Durante 30 minutos.
For
no tenían
half
que
an hour,
estudiar.
they didn't have to
Podían
study.
salir afuera.
They could
Podían
go
salir
outside.
al patio.
They can
al
go out
patio
to
de
the
la
yard.
escuela. Era la
Schoolyard.
hora del recreo.
It was
Y
recreation time.
salieron Miriam, la enemiga de Carlitos.
Miriam is
Carmen.
Miriam is his nemesis. Miriam is the little girl who like she's always doing mean things to Carlitos, but usually because Carlitos is also doing some kind of, snitty stuff to her.
Miriam
Okay.
y Carmen.
Miriam
de
y
su
Carmen.
mochila sacan muñecas.
Oh, they take dolls
Tenían
out
muñecas,
of their
tenían
backpacks.
ropa para cambiarle a las muñecas.
Oh, they change
Y
their dolly
Carlitos-
clothes.
Carlitos y Quique salen
Carlitos and Quique.
con la-
Quique is his friend. Henry. Quique is his nickname. Quique is nickname for Enrique, Henry. So, the boys are going off doing their thing. The girls are going off doing their thing, as happens with normal little kids. They are very little kids.
pelota. Están jugando
Ah.
a pelota.
The boys
a
take out a
chutar-
ball
Chutar
and
la pelota.
they're kicking the
jugando a
ball. They're
fútbol,
shooting the
¿no?
ball.
Carlitos
Soccer ball.
y Quique corren por el patio.
They run
por el
around
patio
the
de la
schoolyard.
escuela. Las niñas.
The girls,
Las niñas se aburren
they
de
get
las
bored.
muñecas.
Oh, se aburren. They get bored with their dolls. Se aburren de las muñecas. They get bored with their dolls.
Y las
Reflexive.
guardan las meten
and they
dentro de
put them
la
away
mochila y
back in their
quieren,
backpacks.
quieren jugar al elástico.
They
Van a
want to play
jugar
jump rope.
al elástico con dos chicas, dos niñas más. Con
They
dos
have two other
niñas.
girls.
Y tienen el elástico.
They got
y
the jump rope.
Carlitos lo ve y corre.
Carlitos sees it.
Corre y pasa.
He
Pasa
runs.
por el elástico.
And
Pasa
he
por aquí,
runs
por el elástico.
through the rope.
Y las niñas le dicen, Carlitos,
And the boys say to
no,
him, hey, Carlitos, stop it. No.
Molestes. No,
Don't bug us. And we're not talking about, no, that molestes looks like a bad thing. It isn't. It says, don't you be a pain in the butt. Molestar is to bother. Don't bother us, they say to him. Oh, and it's a command. No molestas, don't bother us.
nos molestes.
Don't bug us.
Nosotros estamos jugando.
We're playing.
Nos estamos divirtiendo.
We're having fun.
Y Carlitos no escucha.
Carlitos
pasa
doesn't listen.
Y se enreda.
And he gets all
Carlitos
tangled up.
Se enreda.
Se enreda.
con el
He gets
elástico,
tangled up in the
con el
rope.
elástico. Carlitos se enreda y se cae.
And he falls over. Se
Y
cae.
las niñas se ríen. Ja,
Se,
ja, ja.
the girls
Se
laugh.
ríen
Se
de él.
ríen.
Carlitos
All those are reflex. Se ríen. They laugh at
se
him.
levanta. Se levanta.
Carlos gets
se
up.
Se va a seguir.
He takes off. He leaves. Se va. He leaves to continue playing, to keep on playing with Kike,
Jugando con la pelota.
with the ball.
Y luego, cuando ve que las niñas
Later, when he
están
sees that the
con el
girls
elástico,
are with
otra
the
vez
jumper up there,
chuta,
he
chuta
shoots.
la pelota,
He shoots the
tira
ball.
la pelota hacia las niñas.
He
hacia
shoots the
el
ball
elástico.
towards the girls.
Y Miriam tiene una idea.
Miriam has an
Con
idea.
dos niñas, con el elástico, pone la pelota.
With
La pelota la pone aquí.
Their
Y
rope,
hace
their cord.
más o menos como un tirachinas.
Oh, they
un
use it kind of
tirachinas,
like
¿no?
a
Y Miriam
slingshot.
la suelta la pelota y la pelota va alta, muy
Ooh,
alta.
the ball goes
Carlitos,
very, very high.
Carlitos dice, venga, voy a darle con la cabeza.
Oh.
Pero la pelota
Darle. They shoot the ball into the air, and Carlitos thinks he's going to do a head bump with the ball. Yeah, which is a common thing for soccer guys.
se
Okay?
engancha en una rama.
Oh, se engancha
Hay un
en
árbol.
la rama. It gets hooked up. It gets caught, hooked up. Se engancha. Enganchar is to hook something. Okay, so se engancha. It gets hooked up in the branches, en la rama, in the branches of the tree.
Con ramas y la pelota se engancha en un árbol.
Oh,
Se
it's
engancha
stuck.
aquí
It's stuck.
en el árbol,
It's,
se queda colgada en el árbol.
it's hanging in the tree.
Entonces, la pelota se queda en una rama de un
Well,
árbol,
it's stuck
pero
in
el
a
árbol
branch.
está fuera de la escuela, fuera del patio.
The tree is outside of the schoolyard. Está fuera. It's outside of the
De la
schoolyard.
escuela. Y Carlitos lo ve
He
y
sees it,
mira
lo ve.
a Miriam.
And he looks at Miriam.
Hace, es tu culpa.
It's your fault, she says. Es tu culpa. It's your fault. She doesn't much care. His ball is
Y
stuck in the
ahora,
tree.
¿qué van a hacer?
What are they going to do?
Conseguir
How are they
la
going to get the
pelota?
ball?
Quique dice
Quique,
que tendrían
Henry.
que buscar una escalera.
Ooh,
una
they got to find a
escalera
ladder.
de mano. Pero Carlitos dice, no.
Carlitos
yo
says,
puedo,
no,
yo puedo.
I can do
Y
this. Yo puedo. I can do this.
empieza a subir.
Oh,
empieza a
Carlitos
subir
begins to
la reja.
climb
Hay una reja
the fence.
separando el patio
There's a
de la
fence, a
calle.
grill.
Y Carlitos
Yeah.
empieza a subir por
He
la
begins to
reja.
climb up.
Y los niños le dicen, bien,
The
bien,
kids say,
sube,
hey,
sube.
good,
Las
go up.
niñas le dicen, no, Carlitos,
Ooh, the girls say,
baja,
no,
baja.
come down.
Estás loco.
You're crazy.
Carlitos, te vas a matar.
You're going to kill
Te vas a-
yourself.
te
Te vas a
vas a
matar.
caer.
You're going to kill
Te vas a
yourself.
matar.
You're going to fall down.
Entonces,
You're going to kill
Carlitos
yourself.
llega hasta lo alto
Ooh, he
de la
gets
reja
up to a high
y
point
luego
of the
pasa
fence.
a la rama. Llega
And
a la
now
rama
he
del
gets up
árbol
on the branch.
y llega a la pelota.
he
y
gets
los
up to the ball.
niños
He
dicen,
reaches the ball.
bien, bien, ha
The kids
llegado.
are,
Y las
yeah.
niñas, pues también, bueno, aplauden.
Yeah. Oh, the girls applaud, but they're not excited. You'll see the look on his face. Yeah. Yeah. Good for you.
Lo aplauden. Ujú. Entonces
They
Carlitos
applaud him.
hace...
Carlitos is very proud of himself.
Pero mira hacia abajo y no se
Uh-oh,
puede
but now he looks
mover.
down.
Tiene
Ooh,
miedo.
no se puede mover. No se puede mover. Moverse is to move a part of your body. Uh-oh, no se puede mover. He can't move. Uh-oh, he looked down. And here is the thing. It's easy to climb up. It is not easy to climb down. So the classic thing has happened to Carlitos. Now he's frozen. He cannot move. He is scared.
Se queda quieto.
He's
Y
like,
los niños y las
he's
niñas
very,
se dan cuenta
very
que
quiet.
Carlitos tiene miedo.
Las niñas se dan cuenta que Carlitos tiene miedo. The girls realize that Carlitos is scared because he's frozen up there, not moving at all.
Y Miriam, otra vez.
And she goes, oh,
Ven
Miriam is like, oh,
que
again.
Carlitos está inestable.
He's
Ya
not
no
very
se
stable.
aguanta bien. Se está mareando.
Se
Y
está mareando. He is getting dizzy. Se está mareando. Mareándose is to get dizzy, right? Your head is kind of spinning.
Miriam dice, espera, Carlitos.
Miriam says, hey, wait, Carlitos,
yo
wait.
Voy, ya voy. Y Miriam también empieza a subir
Miriam
la
begins to
reja,
climb too.
pero los maestros,
But the
los
teachers
profesores, oyen algo.
Oyen algo, they hear
vienen al
something,
patio,
and they come out to the
profesores
yard.
Y profesoras, y le dicen a Miriam,
And they say to Miriam,
no subas,
don't
no
go up.
subas.
Oh,
Los
that's a command.
profesores
Don't go up.
traen un colchón.
They bring a
colchón,
mattress.
Un colchón de seguridad, pero Carlitos,
Where do they get a mattress?
pierde el equilibrio.
He
pero
loses his
ve la pelota
balance.
y le da un golpe
But
a la pelota.
he kind of
Sí.
hits
Y un
at the
profesor-
ball to
un
try to
profesor
get it
ve
out.
Que Carlitos está cayendo.
Teacher sees
Está
that Carlitos is
y
falling.
consigue cogerlo.
And
Consigue atrapar
and he
a
or she, no,
Carlitos,
he
consigue
manages to
salvar
catch
a Carlitos. Y
Carlitos and save
dice,
him.
bueno, por lo menos salvé la pelota.
And
La
Carlitos says,
pelota
at least I saved
la
the
he
ball.
salvado. Pero los niños señalan
But the
al-
kids señalan is they point. The kids point, they point to
al árbol,
something.
y
They
la
point to
pelota,
the tree.
la pelota estaba en otra rama.
The
Había
ball was on a
caído-
different branch
caído a
now.
otra rama. Sí, la pelota seguía en el árbol.
Yeah,
Y Carlitos
ball is still in the
dice,
tree.
bueno, venga, voy a subir. Otra vez voy a subir.
Carlitos climbs up
Carlitos,
again.
No. Los profesores le dicen, Carlitos, no. Carlitos no es muy listo.
Carlitos is not very bright.
Carlitos hace muchas locuras.
He does lots
¿no?
of crazy
Hace
stuff,
muchas
Carlitos.
travesuras.
He is very
travieso.
mischievous.
Cuando vosotros
Es travieso,
ibais
he is
al colegio,
mischievous.
cuando vosotros estabais en el colegio,
And
vosotros
yeah,
hicisteis
you do
alguna
dumb things when
travesura,
you were a kid.
alguna travesura como Carlitos. Escribidlo abajo
He
en
asked
los
people to
comentarios.
write if
¿vale?
they did crazy
Venga,
stuff when they were a kid.
adiós.
And there we
Y
go.
Si queréis
A good little walkthrough of what they were actually talking about. I will send you some prompts and some ideas of like when you hear them flipping the metenos or say to different places, what that means, that they're tagging it on to an ing, they're tagging it on to an infinitive, or that maybe they're saying, hey, go do it, that they have to tag on. We'll give you some things to hang on to with that, and a new little story to listen to for the week. It's only going to have one reflexive, I think. So it'll be an easier video to listen to than that one, but that had a lot of little, and you could hear it. Sometimes we have to plug in those little reflexives, and sometimes we have verbs that are not. We have verbs that are, verbs that are not, and that's just going to happen. And you just have to get used to the discomfort a little bit. and just go with the flow. Bien? Okay, makes sense?
Sí.
Sí. Excelente. Okay. I'll give you some little prompts to practice that a little bit. We'll talk about where we might flip those around in different situations. Give you some rules you can follow with that and a new video to follow just for fun. ¿Sí bien?
Gracias.
Excelente.